Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our yesterday's and as well as today's newspaper. First of all, I'll let you know important topics of the day, and later on we are going to see each and every topic from prelims and as well as mains point of view. And today I'm not going to give any prelims practice questions here, so just we are going to see analysis of these articles. Okay, first topic is why has China banned helium exports? So here you have to know about this helium. And you have to see about why China has banned this helium exports and where exactly we are going to use this helium. You have to know this. UPSC can ask you a prelims based question on this. And this topic is important from your science and technology point of view and even from GS paper to under international relations. And next topic is how DDCs changed local governance in Jammu and Kashmir. So here we have to see what are these DDCs, what is the composition of these DDCs, and how this DDCs will helpful for overall governance of this Jammu and Kashmir region. And this topic is important from governance from GS paper 2. And next topic is fading research hubs or stalling Kerala's leap into the bioeconomy. So here in this article, we have to see about what is bioeconomy is about and where we are going to use this bioeconomy and what are the advantages of using this bioeconomy and even what challenges we are facing. And from this topic, you can expect both prelims and as well as mains based question. And next topic is there is one article related to retail inflation in our today's newspaper. We are going to see that. And next one is unsafe practices is one article which talks about Vietnam boat tragedy. In that boat tragedy, many of our Indians, they died. And even India started operation to bring back their dead bodies back to India. Okay, so here we have to see about what is that issue is about and what are the major reasons for that kind of tragedies and how we have to prepare ahead to prevent that kind of incidents in our country. Because recently also we saw lots of issues related to this boat capsizing in India. And this time in from disaster management, you can get a question on that boat capsizing. So you have to know that. So these are the articles, and apart from that, there are again 2 to 3 articles which are there in our today's newspaper. I'll cover them in tomorrow's class. Okay, say this guys. Why has China banned helium exports? The keyword is helium. What is the atomic number of this helium? 2, 3, 4. Very good. Hydrogen, helium 2, right? Okay, so why it is in news is recently Ministry of Commerce and General Administrations of Custom China temporarily but immediately banned helium exports from that country to other countries. Okay, so why it is in news? Because from China they stopped exporting to other countries. Because of this it is in news. So how UPSC can ask a question? Consider the following statements regarding helium. Under that it can give you statements and it may ask you to identify correct or incorrect statements, right? And next type of question you can expect from prelims is consider the following applications where we can use helium. Under that it can give 4 to 5 applications or uses of helium and it can ask you to identify correct or incorrect applications. So these are the 2 important prelims based questions. And if UPSC wants to ask a mains based question, how it can ask? Here you have to know one word. Please remember this, trade weaponization. Have heard this word, trade weaponization? Okay, from this point of view, UPSC can ask you a mains based question. So what is trade weaponization? Nothing but you can take example here, China. You know that China is the major producer of lots of products, lots of things on which entire economy of a country can be dependent. For example, from China, we are importing what? API. India is importing major component called as API. It is called as active pharmaceutical ingredient, which is a major product which is used in pharmaceutical companies. For example, let us think that suddenly China stopped export of this API to India. Then what happened? Our pharmaceutical sector will be get affected, and India is very good at pharmaceutical sector. If we are not getting this API from China, can we ensure the better progress in our pharmaceutical sector? No. Our entire economy which is contributed from this pharmaceutical sector will be affected. In the same way, China is famous for now helium. And now it is not exporting this helium. So, different sectors where this helium is used, obviously that will be get affected. So, here what China is doing is, China is making countries to depend on it initially. And after once, what happened? It will stop the exports. So that what happened? That country's economy will be getting affected the most. So this entire concept is called as trade weaponization. So if UPSC wants to ask a question, it can ask in this way: what is trade weaponization? In this context, how China is using this trade weaponization to impact, to affect other countries' economy, and what is its impact on global economy. So in that way, UPSC can ask you a means-based question from this trade weaponization. So here you can take example of API, on which India is dependent on China. You can take example of helium. And now, you know, West Asia crisis is also going on. Yes. And West Asia is famous for crude oil, natural gas. And many countries dependent on this West Asian countries for their energy security, even India to some extent. Because of this, what happened? Because of this kind of issues, this trade weaponization can happen, and overall the economy of different countries can hit. So because of this West Asian crisis also, now this trade weaponization can be asked in mains point of view. And in prelims, UPSC can ask you a question in this way: trade weaponization is seen recently in news. What does it refers to? It may give A, B, C, D option. It may ask you to identify the correct option. Are you understanding? So this concept is called as trade weaponization, and China is very well known for it. Okay, now let us see this article. Okay, so first one is, what is helium? Helium, what is this symbol? He, and its atomic number is number 2, mass 4, right? So helium is an important coolant in semiconductor fabricating industry. So now everything is dependent on semiconductors, whatever the electronics or electric products, and even what are the machine learning, what are the artificial intelligence we are thinking, what about the future of the different countries will be dependent on the semiconductor industry. And in the semiconductor industry, we are using this helium as a coolant. Because of this, it is very important for a developed country for sure. And now the helium supply chain, where we are using in this, we are focusing on purification of this helium, storage of helium, transport of helium. So everywhere here China is dominating now, and now China stopped the exports of this helium to different countries. So because of this, the countries, if they are focusing on semiconductor industry, if they want to go for manufacturing of semiconductors or processing of semiconductors or whatever it may be, they need helium. But now this helium supply is stopped. So because of this, what happened? So different countries are going to be get affected. Okay, now let us see some facts related to this helium. Why helium is a strategic resource now? The first one is, it is a semiconductor lifeline. Especially for making of these microchips or semiconductors, we need helium. Especially it is used for heat management and as well as for the cooling system. Normally, whatever the machinery that we will be using, especially in industrial sector, they will release lot of amount of heat. Yes or no? So whatever the electricity they are consuming or whatever the fuel we are using it will be converted into heat energy, and that heat energy will be helpful for running of the machines. So what happens? They have to control the heat. So for that, we will be using coolant. Earlier traditional way, what was the coolant that we used? Water or heavy water. I think you might have know about this. Water is formula is H2O, and heavy water formula is D2O. Can you recall this? Deuterium oxide, it is called as heavy water. So those are commonly used coolants. But now we are using advanced, that is helium. And this one is, even the quantum computing architectures also we will be using helium. Whenever we are using this helium in that environment, we can maintain qubit stability. Quantum computing is nothing but it's based on qubits, right? So for maintaining the stability of this qubits also we have to use this helium in this quantum computing. And this one is, you know, about this aerospace fuel, right? Especially in the rockets, in jets, we will be using advanced fuel. So in that also we will be using this helium to maintain liquid oxygen. And this one is even in advanced medical diagnostics also, like MRI machines. I think you might have heard about this. What is full form of MRI? Magnetic resonance and imaging. So in that kind of machines also we are going to use this helium. Why? Because we have to maintain proper superconducting of magnets. So for that reason also we need to have this helium. Why we will be using everywhere helium? Because it is an example of which gas? Inert gas. You know this inert gas, right? Or noble gas. Examples of inert gases, anyone? Helium, xenon, krypton, argon. Yes, can you recall that last line of this periodic table? So here this helium is inert gas which will be not readily reacting. For maintaining of that stable environment, we need to use this kind of inert gases. So for that reason, helium plays an important role in manufacturing sector, especially in the semiconductors. If you see applications of helium, please make a note. First one is related to our semiconductors, related to silicon manufacturing. In this area, we'll use this helium. And this one is in rocketry, in aerospace industry. And next one is in aerostat and tourism lifting systems. So we will be having some lifting systems. Normally, if you are saying about this weather forecasting, we will be having big balloons. Can you see that? No idea. So in that area also we'll use this helium. And normally for 10 rupees or 15 rupees, we can see like heart-shaped balloons which will be sold in the market. No idea. So those are also like helium. Why they will use helium? Because of its lightweight, it will be floating. It will be not falling on the ground. So for that reason, in this aerostat and tourism systems also we will be using that. Normally now you can see on big buildings there will be big balloons. No idea. So in that also they'll fill this helium gas itself. And this one is industrial precision leak detection. If there is any leakage in any pipelines, we will use this helium gas to identify if there is any leakage or not. And next one is even the welding. Have you been to this welding shops? They will use some gas and they will use to stick some metals. So in that also they will be using this kind of gases. Earlier they used to use this carbide gas. Do you know this carbide? Normally that is a chemical used for even ripening of mangoes. But now this carbide had been banned because of serious side effects. Because of this now they are using this helium gas even in this welding industries. Okay, now see this article, guys. Okay, read out the title. How DDCs changed local governance in Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, why we are talking about this Jammu and Kashmir now? What happened in Jammu and Kashmir? Earlier it was a state, but now it is union territory. Why? Which articles had been abrogated? Article 370 and Article 35A had been abrogated. And later on, government came up with this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019. And after that, what happened? Earlier, Jammu and Kashmir state had been divided into two UTs. One is UT of Jammu and Kashmir with legislature. Second one is UT of Ladakh without legislature. And now here, after this state had become to UT in Jammu and Kashmir, obviously people will be demanding for greater opportunities and greater advantages. So because of that, our government came up with this constitution of DDCs, District Development Councils. And they formed in year 2021. And now we are in 2026. Exactly, it has been 5 years of this establishment of DDCs. If there is any this kind of bodies which are there in news after completion of 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, 50 years like that, UPSC has a possibility of asking question on that. Okay, so how UPSC can ask a question, because it has been completed 5 years. So UPSC can ask a question like, what is the role of DDCs in the governance of Jammu and Kashmir? And discuss challenges faced. Like that, it can give a question on what are the provisions, what are the challenges, what is the way forward. In prelims, if UPSC wants to ask a question, consider the following statements regarding DDCs of Jammu and Kashmir. Under that, UPSC can give you 2 to 3 statements and it can ask you to identify like correct or incorrect statements. So in that way, UPSC can ask you a question. Now let us see here. Do you know what is the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act? Because there is one paragraph which is given here is about 73rd and 74th. So what are the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act talks about? Yes, 73rd talks about Panchayat and 74 talks about municipalities. Do this 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act is present in our original constitution? No, Panchayats and municipalities are not part of our original constitution. But why we added them later on? What is the need? For decentralization, to ensure grassroots democracy, right? Okay. So here this article is saying that our constitution came up with the 73rd and 74th. 73rd talks about panchayats in village level and 74th CAA talks about municipalities in district or so like municipal or like urban areas. So here this article is saying that we came up with a standard constitutional framework and it talks about multi-tier electoral system. Like in panchayat also we have how many tiers? Is it uniform throughout our country? No. What about municipalities? How many tiers do we have? Again confusion. Okay, is that uniform? So we have some exceptions like where we can follow which tier in municipalities or panchayats. So here this article is saying that through this local governance, we have a structured tiered system, and even this article also talks about the electoral system. And now in this panchayat and municipalities, the people will be directly electing their representatives at all levels. And in urban areas, we have municipal corporation, we have municipal councils, we have nagar panchayats. And how many types of bodies we have in these municipalities? Based on which criteria we divide into 9 categories? Any idea? Based on population next. Why we have this notified area, why we have this cantonment area, why we have this municipal corporation, where we have this municipality. 9 types are there, no? Tell me why we divided them and what is the criteria on which we divided them. Municipalities is done, guys. Only population. Okay, next. Come on, think. It may be a mains-based question. I think it had been asked in UPSC. Criteria, why? Okay, after class, use Google and try to identify why we have different types and what is the criteria. Okay, clear? And on this, UPSC can ask you a prelims-based question. Consider the following statements regarding cantonment board, port trust, municipality, municipal corporation. Like that, UPSC can ask you a question individually on this area. And local self-government is one of the favorite area of UPSC. There is no paper in mains without a question on this local self-government. Okay, minimum 10 marks or 15 marker question you can expect. Okay, so see that once. And in rural areas, we have 3-tier structure. We have gram panchayats, we have block development council, and we have district level bodies. And which article talks about this? 243. Exactly, which articles? Even with alphabets. 343. G. J. Z. D. What about municipalities? ZE2? Last. So what happened was in CDS examination in 2026, they gave this 243A, Z, E, F like that, and they asked what it is. and they asked to identify incorrect. So this examination is also conducted by UPSC. Who knows? Next time they may give question on articles of this local self-government. Just see very important articles and remember this article with alphabet also. Okay. And one more thing I want to say is, not only you have to practice UPSC, CSC questions only. Every year UPSC will conduct at least 15 other examinations also every year. This time many questions from other papers directly came in this UPSC 2026 prelims. Okay, you have to see all those papers also. You have to download them from the UPSC website and make the list first of all, which examination had been conducted in that year, and try to download the paper and try to do that. Many questions came, guys. Okay, so you have to do that at least last 2 years. Not only focus on this UPSC civil service examination prelims only. Even other examinations you have to do. You'll get practice and you will understand how the changing trends of UPSC is happening. UPSC will not be same, no? Yes. What are the dresses you wear? Today the trend is different and after 6 months the trend is different. The same way, UPSC, if it is conducting examination for multiple examination, do you think that it will give only in same format? For sure it won't. It will be changed. So you have to get adapted to that new types of question. Then how do you know how this trend is changing on? You have to practice only UPSC related questions. Then only you can understand the trend. And based on that, you can change your pattern of preparation. And you can analyze whether your knowledge is sufficient or not. If in case it is sufficient, if you are able to solve that, it's very happy. It's a good news. But if you can't, means again you have to change the strategy of preparation. You have to change your mindset, like how you're thinking. Okay, now let us see what exactly this DDCs is. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir administration amended Jammu and Kashmir Panchayat rules. Okay, Panchayat rules of 1996, and that led to the establishment of district development councils in 2021. So when this reorganization act came up in 2019, after that lots of protests happened in this Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh region. And even today, this Ladakh people are fighting for addition of Ladakh into 6th schedule. You know this schedules, right? Schedule 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th schedule talks about SC and ST. 6th schedule talks about tribal areas in AMMT, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura. So now Ladakh people are also asking to add this Ladakh into the 6th schedule. Okay, so now finally Jammu and Kashmir administration changed these rules of 1996 and they came up with the establishment of DDCs. There is nothing but district development councils in Jammu and Kashmir. And what this district development council do? So earlier we have district development boards in all districts, and that will be focusing on preparing approval of district level developmental plans. And now that boards had been replaced with this DDCs, okay, councils. And if you see the composition of this council, they will be having elected representatives from each districts. And the number has been specified at 14 elected members will be there in one council. And they will represent its rural areas. And even we have the members of legislative assembly, they will be also the chairpersons of all block development councils in the districts. So because of this, what happened? So there will be a earlier they used to have top to bottom approach. Now they have bottom to top approach, and they are focusing on development of this areas clearly. Okay, now let us see next article. Fading research hubs or stalling Kerala's leap into bioeconomy. The keyword is bioeconomy. What is the meaning of bioeconomy? Bio means life. Okay, bioeconomy means, what is blue economy? Money from ocean is called as blue economy. Okay, then what is bioeconomy? Money from life is called as bioeconomy. So how can you expect a question is consider the following statements regarding bioeconomy. Under that, UPSC can give you 2 to 3 statements and it may ask you to identify correct or incorrect. That is the first format. Second one is recently bioeconomy is seen in news. What does it refer? Choose the best option. Under that they may give you A, B, C, D option. These are the two types of prelims questions can be framed. And if from mains point of view, it can give you directly this title. Okay, bioeconomy is facing challenges in Kerala. In light of this statement, what are the challenges faced by this bioeconomy? What are the applications of bioeconomy? And what are the advantages? Suggest some measures. Like that, UPSC can give you this kind of mains based question. What, why, what are the challenges? What are the advantages? Suggest some measures. So all these areas only UPSC will ask in the mains. So you have to make a notes of this bioeconomy in detail. For sure in 2026 or 2027 mains, you may get a question on this bioeconomy. Okay, now let us see what exactly is this bioeconomy. Bioeconomy refers to industrial and commercial use of biological resources. What are those biological resources? We have plants, we have animals, we have microorganisms and biological process to produce goods and services, and we'll market them and we'll get some money that will be contributed to our GDP. Right. Now tell me where we can use plants to produce goods and services. Yes, medicines next. Next. Cattle. Okay, next. Biofuels. In yesterday's class we discussed about it, right? We have generations. Generation 1, 2, 3, 4, where we are using agriculture produce plants, waste. Okay, where we are using animals for bioeconomy. Dairy products, meat. Next. Where we are using microorganisms. Fermentation process, where we are producing lots of beverages. Antibiotics, yes. Okay, so here we are using plants, animals, microorganisms, biological processes, and we are producing goods and services, and they are contributing to our economy, and this is called as bioeconomy. Okay, so this bioeconomy is the combination of biotechnology, life science and biomanufacturing together. So this bioeconomy will be promoting the growth and development of our country, and on another side it can reduce environmental impact. Yes. And if you see the data regarding this bioeconomy in our country, bioeconomy has been nearly doubled from last 5 years onwards. Okay, from last 5 years onwards, this bioeconomy had been doubled in our country. And now here there is increased number of bioeconomy related companies also. And even there is increased entrepreneurship. Normally in the home also, especially homemakers, they are using this biological process for making of breads. That is called as fermentation process. And nowadays we have homemade liquor. Yes, they are using fermentation process. And even they are going for terrace garden and they are selling the goods and they are saying they are organic. Yes. Okay, and even nowadays if you open YouTube and if you scroll on reels, so we can see lots of animal related products are also available on online, and they are maintaining small apps and websites, and they are selling their organic milk, ghee, like that, butter, like that kind of products, curd, etc. So in that way, normally this bioeconomy is very important for increasing of entrepreneur skills also. As you all know that the major problem in our country is unemployment. So if we are developing that kind of entrepreneur skills, obviously we can increase employment opportunity that will be contributed to our economy. And even whenever we are increasing this employment opportunities, obviously the crime rate will be reduced in our country. And not only that, even we can reduce our environmental pollution also by recycling of this plant and animal based products. Okay, in this context, you have to know about this Bio E3 policy. Please make a note of this Bio E3 policy. On this, UPSC can ask you a mains based question. And actually, we expected this time in UPSC 2026 there will be a question on Bio E3. but there is no question. That means UPSC can ask a question on this policy in 2027. Bio E3 policy. Okay, what is this Bio E3? Bio is nothing but biotechnology. E3 means we have three E's. One is for economy, next one is for environment, third one is for employment. Government launched this project of Bio E3 in 2024. Why? To keep India top in biotechnology, biomanufacturing and research and development. And this policy will be focusing on especially bio-based chemicals, enzymes, functional food, precision biotherapeutics in marine area, in space technology, where it is possible, we can use this Bio E3 policy. And it will be promoting collaboration among universities, research institutions, startups and industry. And we are especially focusing on development in this biotechnology in our country. And not only that, recently Assam became the first state to adopt this Bio E3 framework in our country. And if one state came up with this adoption of this policy, obviously there will be increased pressure on other states in our country to adopt that. Obviously, if other states in our country also adopting that policy, we can be a front runner in controlling of environment change. Okay, and as you all know that India is the leader of global south. So if India is adopting that kind of policy, that will become a lesson for different developing countries. And we all together can fight against this climate change. Okay, so in that way you have to interconnect everything. And see this article guys, title, read out the title. Retail inflation climbs past RBI target to 4.4%. Okay, what is this article talking about? Retail inflation. What is the meaning of inflation? Increased prices of goods and services in market is called as inflation. And how many types of inflation we have? Wholesale price index inflation. Next one is retail price inflation. Wholesale price is nothing but at the producer level, if the price increases, that is called as wholesale pricing inflation. And at consumer level, if the price increases, it is called as retail inflation. And what's the target of maintaining of inflation in our country? Yes, we have 4 plus or minus 2. That means 2 to 6% we have to maintain inflation. And now it is 4.4%. Okay, now let us come to this article. Okay, this article is saying that now inflation is 4.4%. If you see, it is 18 months high. From last 18 months, this month inflation is high. And earlier in the month of May, it is like 3.93, but now it is 4.4%. So here you have to understand what are the reasons for increasing of retail inflation. First one is West Asian crisis again started. What are the ceasefire which had been came up between US and Iran broken, and again the attacks on this countries on each other is going on, and because of this again oil disruption. Next, yes, we have monsoon deficit because of this very low rainfall. Now agricultural productivity had been affected. Next, there is heat wave which is going on. Yes, next, any other points that can you add here? Okay, the reasons they gave here is, first one is increased fuel prices because of West Asia crisis, and next one is very low rainfall because of weaker monsoon due to El Nino now. So these are the two reasons which are said in this article that led to increased food price. There is increased retail food price. Because of this, overall retail inflation had been increased. Okay, now you guys tell me, inflation is measured by which index? Okay, we have two types of inflation. One is wholesale inflation, retail inflation, right? Wholesale inflation is measured by WPI, wholesale price index, and retail inflation is measured by CPI, consumer price index. And in this consumer price index, again we have how many? 4 types. We are measuring this inflation at agricultural laborers level, industrial workers level. We have combined. Like that, we have 4 types of CPI. Okay, who will release the CPI? Who will release the CPI? MOSPI. What is the full form of MOSPI? Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation will be releasing this index. Recently, what is the update? We changed it, the base year. What is that base year update of CPI? 2022 to 2023. Earlier, 2011 to 2012. So, those things that you have to remember. And now you guys tell me, if this inflation increases, is that good for our economy? Yes or no? No. Okay, what can be done? What measures can we take to control this inflation in the market? What steps? What are the policies we have? If there is any inflation in our country, it is not good. So, who will control this inflation? We have central government, we have RBI. The policy of central government is called as fiscal policy. RBI's policy is called as monetary policy. What government will do under this fiscal policy? What government will do? Increases government expenditure. How government expenditure can be increased? Government expenditure, how it will increase? It will give new projects, infrastructure projects like roads, railways, hospitals. So like that, government will spend more and more amount of money. So if government is spending more and more amount of money, what happens? There is increased money supply in the market. And one more tool here is government can decrease government spending. So if government spending is decreased, money supply in the market will be reduced. So here, based on the level of money supply in the market, government will be taking this either increased spending or decreased spending. If money supply is more in the market, what happened? Government try to decrease that money supply. So how? It will reduce the spending. If money supply is less in the market, government will be spending more, right? And what comes under this monetary policy? Only interest rates. Here RBI can increase or decrease interest rate based on the money supply. If RBI wants to increase money supply in the market, what about this interest rate? Interest rate will be reduced. If RBI wants to decrease money supply in the market, what happens? It can increase interest rate. So these topics will be dealt by your next sir. His name is Saket sir. He will be discussing everything in detail. After once polity and governance is done, sir will be starting your economy. Okay, and this inflation topic is very important. In 2025, there were 2 questions in UPSC prelims related to this inflation. In 2026, unfortunately, there is no question. But in 2025 mains also they gave one question on inflation. What are the causes of inflation? Just 10 marker question they gave. Okay. And for this economy also, we will be giving you the topic wise PYQs as we did for polity. And once the chapter is done, you have to write all those PYQ answers of mains. Then you will be getting a practice and you will be knowing like how questions can be asked from economy. Mostly it will be analysis based questions only. They will not give any facts based question from economy. Economy, if you understand concept, you can easily write answer. It is not that much tough as polity. And from economy, you'll get minimum 8 to 9 questions in your mains. It is like highest scoring subject in your GS paper 3. Okay, see this next article. Unsafe practices, safety protocols should not be given short shrift in tourism and adventure. What happened in Vietnam? Okay, capsizing of boat. That is a speedboat. And in that speedboat, mostly the Indians. From which states? Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, mostly. Okay. Why did they go to this Vietnam? For what? Just for tourism and adventure purpose. Unfortunately, this accident happened. And many Indians, they died. And most of them were survived. Okay, now Indian government is doing some operation, and Indian government is trying to bring back this dead bodies from this Vietnam to India. So in our today's newspaper, there are around 2 to 3 articles based on that incident. And this time, for sure, in 2026 mains, you can expect this question on boat accidents. Why? Because in India also, in many rivers, I think 4 to 5 instances of this boat capsizing happened. And now many Indians died in this Vietnam boat tragedy. For sure, UPSC wants to know about what kind of steps you can take to prevent this kind of incidents in our country in the future. And as a district collector, you are the head of District Disaster Management Authority, and you need to know what can be done, and you need to be aware about disaster management cycle, like what is your role before disaster, during disaster, and after disaster. So for sure, you may get case study, or from disaster management point of view, you may get 10 marker or 15 marker question on this topic. Okay, how they can frame a case study is, the district collector of so and so district, where that area is very much famous for inland transportation. Recently, a boat capsizing happened. In that, many of people died. In that, people, elderly and children are also included. As a district collector, what are the steps you are going to take, or what are the options you have, and which option you will choose? Analyze the options. Okay, like that you may get a question. Okay, now let us see this article. This article is saying that a tragic boat capsize accident happened near Phu Quoc Island. Remember guys, if you are getting this kind of places, UPSC can give you a prelims based question. Consider the following pairs. On one side they'll give you the place, on one side they'll give you country. And if they want to make question more complicated, they will add one more row and they'll add why it is in news. This kind of format of questions is quite common in UPSC. Minimum 2 questions you can get from places in news. Okay, so you have to know that place, Phu Quoc Island in Vietnam. What happened here? Boat accident. Okay, so like that you have to remember. So now you will remember, you will recall. You think that I know, but in examination hall you need to maintain the same confidence. You should not get confused in examination hall. That is the problem we have, right? Because of that only we are getting negative marks here. In last polity, just small confusion between these words, statements. Don't do that. So when you are having the clarity on that, when you do like more number of revisions, that will fix in your brain. In that case, only you will not get confusion. If you are getting confusion, means it is because of lack of conceptual clarity, or it is because of lack of revision. Only these 2 reasons will be there if you are getting confusion. If you work on that, for sure you will not get confused. And I already said that you will be having this kind of problem of confusion polity paper, like president or governor, 5 years or 6 years, can be removed or not, they are part of this or not, what is their function, they will do this or not. All those points will be not seen in any book, but sometimes the questions will be there on that points. You should not get surprised, but you have to use elimination techniques, you have to use the common sense, and you need to have the conceptual clarity, then only you can do that kind of polity questions. Unless and until, if you do not have conceptual clarity, number of revisions, if you are not using common sense, or if you are not using this elimination techniques, you can't do this prelims. That is quite clear. Okay, you have to focus on your weak areas. Don't waste much time. So do repeated revisions. Okay, next one here is, in this incident around 15 tourists, they died, they belongs to India, and around 21 people were rescued. And this incident highlighted that there are problems related to maritime safety, and there is no proper emergency safety mechanism, and even there is no proper protection of Indian citizens abroad. Okay, if you see the response from Indian side, Prime Minister expressed condolences and assured all possible assistance, and government started an operation, and they are bringing back the dead bodies to India. And next one here is, Indian Embassy in Vietnam and Consulate are also coordinating with this Vietnamese authorities, and they are making some arrangements, and they got the first shipment. And next, if you see this Vietnam response, Vietnam, they started high-level investigation, and even authorities have been directed to review maritime and inland waterway safety, and they want to fix accountability issues, and they want to issue safety standards. So this is the thing which is given here, but actually what you need to focus here is what are the key takeaways. If you are a district collector in your area, if there is any river, if it is famous for this kind of tourism, okay, you have to focus on these 4 to 5 points. The first one is always we have to give importance for safety regulations. And this one is if any vessel which is incorporating the tourist, we have to separately identify them for tourist purpose for local people, because local people, they aware about the condition, because they will be using that route frequently, so they can understand and they can identify what can happen so that they can take some precautions. But if you are a tourist, do you know that area? No. So do you know that geographical condition? No. Like, because of this, we need to have the strict enforcement for tourist vessels. And this one is, in case of this kind of international tragedies, diplomacy plays a very important role. And as an IFS officer, you need to play a very important role while mediating with the other countries' authorities, because laws in India is different, laws in other countries will be different, and you have to mediate properly so that we have to provide help to our Indians, and we have to protect our Indian diaspora in other countries. And this one is we need international cooperation also during emergency rescue operation. And this one is we have to give importance for our disaster preparedness and passenger safety protocols in coastal tourism. Not only in international level, but even India is having a very huge coastline. And recently, I think fishermen had been swept away in the water. I can't recall the right place where exactly it happened, but this kind of disasters will be quite common in the coastal areas. So if you are a district administrator in this coastal district, you have to focus on disaster preparedness and how you are going to bring awareness among the people about the cyclones, weather forecast, international border, fishing alerts, how you can make them aware to use different apps. Okay, so from that way also UPSC can ask you a question on that. Okay, yeah, these are the important topics that appeared in our today's newspaper and as well as yesterday's. In today's newspaper, there are additionally 2 to 3 articles that I will be discussing in tomorrow's class. Thank you so much guys for watching, and if you like this class, please hit the like button, please to share this class, and I wish you all the best.